You said earlier something about understanding people and what that kind of, about leadership and knowing where they come from. And what that kind of clicked back to me is something you said in the past where, you did some, you learned about psychology or you did some sort of study around it.
Uh, yeah, I had one of the girls I was dating was going when I first started dating her. She had entered her master's on psychology,
Yeah.
and we were like living together there. And throughout her master's, I was her study buddy in psychology. That's where I learned Myers-Briggs, and
Yeah.
we
So,
learned about dark psychology, some of the lighter MBTI psychology, all the various types of how people operate, which was weird because I had never really. I'm not an emotional guy in that
yeah.
kind of sense. I'm very kind of dry in my
Yeah.
personality.
Yeah.
But this was the first time I'd seen the science of psychology applied as to why people do what they do. And oddly enough, it made sense because you can classify people in categories and we fit very well into them. And we've done this for centuries.
Yeah.
We've done this through was astrology, the various signs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's just a classification of genetics based on someone being born within a certain period of a calendar.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. There's an odd time-based aspects around that I look at as to how genealogy happens in genetics.
Yeah.
Conception to where, if you want randomness, the one thing I learned about programming randomness into gaming,
Yeah.
there's only one controller for RNG, and that's time. The point in time at which the number is generated. That is the true unique thing that makes uniqueness unique, is the point in time.
Yeah.
The same thing applies to genealogy. That's how astrology works the way it is. You can classify people because it's really just a time classification based on genetics.
So when you've learned all this from your ex-girlfriend and whatnot, how do you think this aspect has helped you in terms of your leadership skills? Does reading people actually help you? Is that something?
Yes, it's tremendous. Because before then, if you'd have met me before that,
Yeah.
I was very cocky and egotistical. I thought I knew everything. I thought I was always right. I thought my problem was I would get frustrated with people, and I would be like, why are these people dumb? Why are these people like that? Why can't they understand what I understand?
Wow.
I didn't understand the differences in people. That was what I did not understand.
Yeah.
Right. The differences in individuals and people is really, it took me a while to classify. When I started classifying people and saw what motivated people, what made people think, some people are, they like praise, affirmation.
Yeah.
Some individuals like monetary gain. They want material things. Other individuals like notoriety. I learned from myself, I am very much a praise and recognition. I like to do a good job. I like that good boy, good job kind of mentality of myself. When I don't get that, I'm less likely to do good things, right? I've learned that about my own personality.
Yeah.
I wear tight black t-shirts because I have a spectrum of Asperger's, which makes me enjoy tight clothing for whatever reason. I feel comforted by it.
Okay.
Things I learned about myself in
Yeah.
understanding the way the science behind psychology works. There really is a reason and a science behind why we do what we do.
Yeah.
And when you start studying it, you learn more about yourself than you could ever imagine. All of the weird quirks, all of the reasons I do the things I do have made sense in the repetition of it. It's all survival techniques. It all goes back to it's that nature versus nurture impact.
Yeah.
But when you look at the nature and the nurture and you know all of how your life played out, and you try to quantify and classify it, you start going, oh yeah, this is why I acted this way. This is why I left home at an early age. This is why I did these things. This is why I'm so independent. That classification matters. And when you get into things like Myers-Briggs, which is the thing that really I find the most fascinating, is the classifications of it.
Yep.
That as a leader, if I know someone's an ENTJ, I understand that they're going to be motivated by a more assertive personality.
Yep.
They're not going to be motivated by emotional pleas and empathetic pleas. They need a more direct approach to go, hey, here's how we're doing this. They want a leader that's strong.
Yep.
Whereas a more empathetic person, on that side you're going to need a little bit softer touch. You're going to need a little bit more coaxing in the way you approach the problem or the challenge with an individual. So it's allowed me to tailor my response to an individual's personality, and I get better results that way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I'm not saying that, I know anything about psychology, but I know where you're going in terms of the ability to empathize and read people is essential to leadership. You have to sometimes, to your point, stroke their ego sometimes. Sometimes you have to understand and empathize with whatever they're struggling with. But at the end of the day, it just has to all kind of come together in that way and come off as authentic about it, right?
Yeah, yeah.